Mokaev, what did he do? Quick summary on this Mokaev guy. Recently fought last week, and he's cut from the UFC. Not cut, but he's just not going to be re-signed. And I'm going to go through a couple reasons on why that happened, and that's really all. First thing we should start off with is this picture right here. This really started when Manel Cap and Mokaev went back and forth on Twitter. Manel Cap told Mokaev, "When I see you, I'm going to slap you." So they caught each other at the PI. This is from Jean Silva, fighting nerd. Shout out to the best team in all of MMA. He said in an interview that Manel Cap saw Mokaev and basically headbutted him and then elbowed him, causing a cut over his eye that you see here. Later, he goes to disprove this. Mokaev does. He tries to post a picture and saying, "Oh, I'm fine now," but this actually happened months prior when they're at the PI. So basically, Manel Cap saw Mokaev, went up to him, not sure what was said. He elbowed him, headbutted him, and then Mokaev started to run away from him at the PI. This is just what, secondhand. And so, yeah, that's what this cuts from. This was before Mokaev's previous fight. All right, now we're going to get into evidence number 2 is this photo. So really what happened was Mokaev was at the UFC Fighters Hotel or wherever the fighters were staying at, and he saw Manel Cap. So their previous encounter obviously went pretty bad. So Mokaev went up to Manel Cap and said, "Hey, can we take a picture to show our Muslim solidarity or brotherhood or something like that?" Manel Cap recently became Muslim. He converted. So Manel Cap thinking, "Oh, this is just a kind-hearted gesture. We're going to put our differences aside, come together for a photo." He goes in to try and take a photo, and guess what happens? If you guessed Mokaev punched Manel Cap in the face when they went in to take a picture, you would be right. So according to Mokaev, I'm going to throw the clip in. Mokaev sucker punched Cap when they went in to take a picture and dropped him. I think this is while he's cutting weight. This is right before weigh-ins. He punches Manel Cap, knocks him off balance, knocks him down or whatever. And then this part I don't think Mokaev says, but we have video of it. Manel Cap is being trampled basically. Mokaev's whole team's just in there, trying to get to him. And Mokaev goes and posts this picture on screen, which seems to be Manel Cap on the ground and a lot of Mokaev's people around him. And this is going to play a pretty big part into what happens later, him getting cut, and something that I noticed in the fight that I think was actually caused by this event.
I couldn't come close to him in the hotel, so I told him, "Let's come take picture." And once he came, I dropped him, and I had to do it.
That was the clip I was referring to where he just says, "I saw him and I dropped him." So one thing I want to point out, where I'm not going to be able to show a picture of it because it's a little graphic, but you could find it on Twitter. Manel Cap dislocated his big toe in one of the rounds, maybe early round 1, where Mokaev shot for a takedown. Manel Cap stuffed it, and you could see his toe pop out. It was pretty disgusting, so I don't want to put it up on screen here. But I think that could have been caused maybe previously, because your toe doesn't really snap out of place like that too often. I know he was trying to stuff a takedown that could have got caught somewhere, but in my opinion, I think during that incident, Manel Cap might have gotten stepped on or something might have happened where his toe was compromised and he was going into the fight with a compromised toe, which caused him to dislocate it in the middle of the fight. And he put it back in, but obviously that's going to linger around for the rest of the fight, not excusing the poor performance from both guys, but that's just another layer to this story. I'd like to add, my personal input. So I think that was a big reason why Dana cut him, released him, didn't re-sign him, even though he's an undefeated prospect. One, his fight style was not the most interesting, but I'm going to show some screenshots about some stuff. This is all alleged that he was in contacts with PFL. This is on screen right now. And he was just out shopping for deals, which I always thought, I feel like that's kind of normal. I know in the workforce that's a little more normal. Not sure about in fighting, but it seemed like Dana White did not like this whatsoever. So here's the Mokaev tweet that's on screen. I'm going to skim through it real quick. If you want to read the whole thing, it's on screen. Should still be on his Twitter. But so he says, "This is the first time I punched outside the cage. It was more personal. He was the one who headbutted me 5 days ago before Perez fight when I went to shake his hand in Vegas. He just said it's wrong and he apologized to UFC, but he's never been a cheap shot on the street, blah, 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 blah. All about he felt like he was bullied by Cap in that situation. I mean, I get where he's coming from, but it's obviously unacceptable, and I just think this is one piece to it. Obviously, I think there's more stuff going on behind the scenes, but I'm pulling up the second tweet right here, and let's see what he says. In this tweet, he's referencing something Dana White said at the post-fight press conference. He said, "Oh, the PFL is going to get a good undefeated champion or undefeated fighter," when he was referring to Muhammad Mokaev being released. And the tweet says, "My dream is to become a UFC champion. I turned them all down because UFC gave me a platform to put my name out there and earn money to feed my family. By the way, the PFL don't have flyweight division. All these journalists that make this shit up are idiots. I hope Dana resigns me. This is my dream to become champion." Yeah, he's right. PFL doesn't have a flyweight division, but it's just odd. I don't know why Dana said that. I think Muhammad Mokaev is out searching for other places to fight at. Maybe he's going to go to one. That's the only place I think he'd go at, and he should be moving up a division, in all honesty. He's not a flyweight. He's going to go up 10 pounds and fight at one because the whole hydration thing and all that stuff. But I don't believe that he wasn't out searching for other things. But the whole PFL thing doesn't make much sense to me. But reality, I think he's out looking for other options, looking for more money. The UFC wasn't giving him anything. He already said in the interview that he was speaking to the UFC, and the UFC told him to shoot less takedowns. Which, I mean, you can't go out there and start putting stuff like that out there and expect the UFC to come re-sign you. Dana White said that that's maybe what the matchmaker said. Like, hey, if you want more money, stop being boring. Makes sense, right? You want more money, you're asking for this. How about you go and stop being boring? Understandable. But in reality, he wanted more money. UFC wasn't giving it to him. He probably went out there and looked for other offers. Seems like Dana White doesn't like that. Dana White just got rid of him. It was just a mix-up of all this stuff that's going on. The fights, boring, was boring again that night, and probably out looking for other offers. We're going to get you out of here. Never come back, Muhammad Mokaev. He's not coming back to the UFC. Dana White will not re-sign this guy. Too big of a headache for boring performances. And God forbid he became the champion. Dana White would have Muhammad Mokaev and Bilal Muhammad as champions. Dana White does not want two boring fighters as champions. I'm sorry. So I'm going to move on to some alleged DMs between somebody that might know something. Again, I don't think this might be real. No clue. So again, this is alleged DMs from somebody that has known Mokaev or knows somebody that knows Mokaev since he was 14. And he alleges that Mokaev and his management team tried to check on what PFL would pay him before his last fight in the UFC. And allegedly Dana White heard of this and was not a fan of it and just got rid of him. That's why he mentioned a PFL is getting a good undefeated guy, because I guess he must have heard that he was speaking with PFL about getting a deal and just fishing out numbers. Like he says, as leverage, it makes sense that he wants to say, well, PFL is going to pay me $100,000 a show or $200,000 a show, and you guys are paying me 50 to show, 50 to win. He's probably getting more than that, but just as an example. And he planned to use that in leverage in the upcoming negotiations, hence why he didn't re-sign before this fight. Dana White, I guess, heard that and said, dude, just go away. They can have you. If they want to be dumb and pay you that much money, they can do it. We don't need you. Did it happen? I don't know. But it's just odd because I think PFL only has a 45. They don't even have a 35, let alone a 25. I could see Mokaev fighting at 35. It'd make a lot more sense. But 45 is a crazy jump. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe they do have a 35, but what I thought they were only having 45 is the lowest weight division. But yeah, that seems to be the story of what Mokaev did and why he's like this. I'm going to get into, a little breakdown of the fight just to show kind of the stuff that probably pushed Dana over the edge. Now I'm going to go into a couple of fouls Muhammad Mokaev had in this fight. First round, kicks Manel Cap in the no zone. Manel Cap just waves off the ref, keeps the fight going. Then we fast forward to round 2, where Muhammad Mokaev has Cap on the ground. I mean, you can see this on the picture, and literally pulls his pants down. Like, you guys have to look up the picture or watch this, but he genuinely pulls his pants from his waist to his lower buttocks area, mid buttocks area. I'm not sure why he would do that. And the one thing I'm confused at, how is that not a point taken away? How is that accidental? His foot didn't get caught in it and he tried to move it out and it accidentally pulled it. No, he had his hands in his pants and was trying to pull it down. Immediate point deduction. Immediate point deduction. That is that's insane that they continued to just give him a stern warning and just let the fight continue like that. You can't let the fight continue without taking a point when the guy's trying to pull the other guy's pants down. Very obvious that it wasn't, like, there's no way to accidentally do that. So I think that was a big, big issue with the fight. Another issue was an eye poke. I think later that round, Mokaev eye poked. The ref didn't call it or anything, but you can see it on the replay that he eye poked him. So that was 3 fouls. Dana White was probably like, dude, you have a boring fight. Couldn't finish a guy that was on one foot, basically. Couldn't throw because his back foot was compromised because his toe was out of place. And you pull his pants down on TV. I'm sorry? Go to PFL. Go anywhere but here. Is Dana White's watching this is exactly what's going through his mind. Get him out of here. You can't pull the fighter's pants down on TV. You can't go up and call him over for a picture, then attack him. You can't do this stuff. It's like, the PFL thing aside, the negotiation thing, which I don't have an issue with, but I don't understand the industry norms in MMA. All that other stuff adds up to way more chances than he should have gotten. I mean, this is the final straw, and I understand why. And I mean, he should be like pretty understanding at why this happened. So that's really all. Muhammad Mokaev exposed for pulling down his pants, not pulling down his pants, pulling down Manel Cap's pants, being a weirdo, attacking him, all this weird stuff, being a boring fighter, like exposed as a boring fighter. Go away, go to PFL. You suck. Yeah, that's all I got.